Let's go racing! This is a quick look at Thunder Alley. Thunder Alley is a game being produced by GMT Games. It is designed by Jeff and Carla Horger, and my name is Chad Schreiber. I'm the developer for this game. Now, word of caution, the components used in this video are playtest components. These are a far cry from what the final edition of the game is going to look like. This video is meant to demonstrate some of the concepts inside of Thunder Alley and to demonstrate some of the movement types and other aspects of racing. In Thunder Alley, as cars are activated, they take on wear markers. These are some of the various wear markers that are used in the game. As the game goes on, these wear markers may lead to performance problems in different race cars. Thunder Alley uses a NASCAR-style scoring system, and so these are some of the scoring markers used as well. To get started, we need to set the starting grid. To set the starting grid, we draw a card and use the team bar. The team bar lists a series of colors that set an order for the different teams in the race. Now I'm simulating a two-player race, so there will only be two teams on the grid, the black team and the yellow team. In this case, black came before yellow on the team bar, so we set the order as black, yellow, and then we reverse it, yellow, black, then reverse it again, black, yellow. If this was a three-player race, there would be three cars. We would have black, blue, yellow. Then to demonstrate how the rest of the grid is set, we flip the colors. It goes yellow, blue, black, then black, blue, yellow, yellow, blue, black, etc. Thunder Alley uses team sheets to represent the cars on the track. Here you can see the 1, 2, 4, 5 of the yellow team on the team sheet. These are used to hold the wear markers that the cars obtain as they are played during the race. Here we can see the 4 and the 1 on the track, as well as the 3, and for black we see the 61, 64, and 63. And on black's team sheet, these cars are also represented. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to use a poker chip as the first player marker and also to mark leaders on the board when it's necessary. Black is up first and will play a card. Then black selects which of his team's cars he will activate. Black's decided to activate the 63 car, which is in line here, and this is a pursuit movement card. So we're going to get to see how pursuit movement works. First, black will take a black tire marker though, because the card had a black header to it. He places that on the team sheet to represent the wear that the 63 takes for this activation. The wear marker doesn't take effect until after the turn though. We found you're a lot less likely to forget to place the marker if you put it when you activate the car, and just remember that it doesn't take effect until the next time the car is activated. The card that was played by the black team is a pursuit movement card. And what that allows is for the car that is activated to link up with the cars in front of it and push them along the track. So this car had a value of 7. The 63 was activated. It was the third car in line there. What it will actually do is push the cars that are in front of it, and they will move 7 as well. Now here black has an interesting choice as to whether or not he wants to go to the inside lane or the outside lane. In this case, he's going to choose the outside lane, and the other cars will follow him. The car that is activated, or the team that is activated, gets to make the choice for lane decisions, not necessarily the car that's at the front. If yellow had been the car in front, but black was the one that was activated, black would still make that decision. Next up, yellow decides to play the slingshot card. It's a 7-point card that uses lead movement. It also has a special effect, and that is that the activated card may make one diagonal movement for 1 point during its movement. Sometimes this can be used to move between cars that you otherwise couldn't move between. This time it is probably just going to get used to move an extra space. Now lead movement is one of the 4 movement types. We've already seen pursuit movement. Lead movement works a lot like pursuit movement, but it pulls cars along. So a car activated with lead movement pulls the cars that are adjacent behind it. With lead movement card, the car is not allowed to maneuver at all before it starts pulling those cars. With pursuit and draft movement, there is a little bit of maneuvering that can happen before the cars are considered linked and pulled along. Let's see how this works in practice. Yellow is going to activate the 3 car, and as it moves, the first move it's going to make is that diagonal move allowed by the slingshot card. So that only costs 1 movement point, but effectively moves 2 spaces, 1 down and 1 over. Now with lead movement, the cars that were behind it are going to follow in exactly the same spaces that the 3 car enters. So the black car that was immediately behind it will follow, and it'll continue to follow it, and the car behind that car, and etc., all the way down the line. So we just moved 4 or 5 cars all at once with the play of 1 card. Here's what the 3 looks like at the end of that move. You notice the 68 is actually behind both the 63 and the 3 at this point. That can become important when drafting occurs with other cards. It's now the black team's turn again, and black is going to play another black tire marker card with the out in front card. This is also a lead movement card and causes tire wear. So a black marker is placed on the 61, which is the front or currently leading car, and the 61 will move forward 7 and pull all the cars behind it. When he gets to the exit of the corner, he gets to pick either the middle or outside lane. In this case, he picks the middle lane and finishes his movement of 7. Now all the cars behind him will follow because, again, this is a lead movement card. The 68 car here at the end of the front stretch is also behind him. He's technically behind both of those lanes. The black team chooses to pull that car with it. It could have chosen the outside lane, which had no cars in it. And finally, the 61 is flipped to indicate that it has been activated this turn. Here you see black's team sheet, and the 61 and 63 both have tire wear markers on them. And for yellow, only the 3 car has been activated, and it too has a tire marker. Yellow is going to activate the 4 car and is going to use another slingshot card in order to activate him. Slingshot uses the tire wear markers, so another black tire wear will be placed. This is a little unusual. Normally you don't see all the same kind of wear marker coming out. The yellow 4 is going to advance and move such that it cuts in front of its own car to put all 3 of these cars nose to tail, so that if there's a draft card or pursuit movement or something, his 2 yellow cars will also get to move. Next up, black chooses to play a riding the draft card. You'll notice this card has a white header. White headers indicate that no wear marker is picked up for the activated car. Now the black 62 is the car getting activated here, and he's between 2 yellow cars, one behind him and one in front of him. But he doesn't want to move those yellow cars necessarily, so he's going to pick the inside lane as the lane he's behind, the one that has the empty space. When the active car has a choice of lanes, he gets to pick which lane is affected by his movement. So he does still have to pull the car that's behind him, but he doesn't have to push the car in front of him in that case because there was open space in front of him. The first step of the end of turn process is to determine who's leading and award that car a lap lead marker. We have an interesting condition here where there are 2 cars in the same sector. They're both in the lead sector. Usually the tiebreaker in this circumstance is the inside car that is not on the apron is considered to be the leader. However, for lap lead markers, any car in the lead sector gets a marker. We then draw an event card and play out the card as the text reads. This particular card has no effect on play right now, so we'll check on how events work a little later. Let's take a quick look at the team sheets. Here we're looking at yellow's team sheet, and as you can see, each of the cars has taken some wear during playing of card. The orange and purple markers are permanent markers, and those will not come off during the course of the race. The black tire markers on the other 3 cars, those can come off during a pit stop. Now let's take a look at black's team sheet. And what you'll see is that only 3 of his cars have taken any wear markers. That's because the other 3 cars played cards that had white headers, so there was no wear in those cases. Again, all these tire markers will come off when those cars pit. Let's just watch what happens on turn 2. Yellow's 3 car has been lapped. Unless all the cars in front of it somehow fall back, it's going to be removed from the game. Let's go through the end of turn process. The first thing we do is determine the leader or leaders, and we put a lap lead marker on them. Next, we're going to draw an event. And as we turn this over, we get the rain card. The rain card, there are 2 of these in the deck. When the first one comes up, it means that if the second one is drawn later, the race ends due to rain at that point. Next, we check for pit stops, and in this case it doesn't look like black has any reason to pit. And if we take a look at yellow will not pit any cars either. Since the 3 car is still a lap down, the next step is to remove lapped cars, so the 3 will indeed be removed at this point. Next, we look to see who is the current leader, and it looks like that's the 68 black car, so black will be the first player. And finally, we deal cards to all the players. And let's fast forward through turn 3. The event at the end of turn 3 is a yellow flag, so let's see how that works and how we pit under yellow. What we basically do, I'm using an optional rule here, where you start with the leader and you follow around in track order. Each car determines if it's going to pit. By pitting, it gets to remove any temporary wear markers, so that can keep the car more efficient. We go around the track with each car, and the team owner decides whether or not that particular car is going to pit. If it does pit, it is pushed straight down to the apron. Now in this case, the 3rd car in line is choosing not to pit. That car will not go to the apron, and he sets the new starting position for the race. Basically what that means is the rest of the cars will line up on him there. So as we continue around the track, we will decide each car whether or not it will pit or not. If the cars pit, they slide to the apron. If not, they line up behind the leader in a side-by-side restart, just like you might see in a Saturday or Sunday race on television. You may be wondering what the risk and reward is. Well, once a car has 3 wear markers and it is activated, the car suffers a -3 speed. So the card that it plays is worth 3 less points. Once you get to 6 markers, your car is removed from the race. Let's take a look at the team sheets before and after the pits. Here's yellow's before, and then here's yellow's after. Here's black's before, and here's black's after. Finally, we need to return all those pitted cars to the track. So we basically start with the car that was furthest along. That's the one next to the poker chip here. And he will be pushed back into line in the 4th position, the 2nd car on the outside. We literally just follow this around in this pattern, putting the cars in the restart lanes, side by side, front to back. After 2 more turns of racing, the field looks like this. And the drawn event card is a blown tire card. And what this card does is the car with the most tire wear markers is given a 10 position pit stop penalty. The thing is both teams have a car with one tire marker. So we draw the next race card and we check the team bar to see which team is going to suffer the effects. We use the first team that's playing. Whatever color shows up first, that's the team that's affected. So in this case, it's the yellow car. So he's backed up 10 spaces and is forced to take a pit stop. So what we're going to get to see here is what happens when you exit the pits. We'll fast forward to when this car is about to come out. None of the rest of the cars at this point are going to pit because they're all fairly clean, and the race probably will end in a turn or so. At this point, yellow has decided to bring this car out of the pits. He plays a card and will use the pit exit movement point value to exit the pits. This is a yellow floret card. Yellow is normally a permanent damage, but when you're using a card to come out of the pits, you do not incur a wear marker. So this is a good way to burn off the permanent wear marker cards when necessary. The car exiting the pits will use the smaller of the two numbers, the 4, and that's his movement points. He moves otherwise like he normally would. It is solo movement. It is always solo movement when you're exiting the pits. If a car had been in the space that he first needed to move into, it would have cost 2 points to move it, just like normal. Thanks for taking the time to check out this video on Thunder Alley. I hope you found something in it that caught your interest. To order the game, you can go to www.gmtgames.com, and for more information on the game, you can check out Jeff Horger's blog on BoardGameGeek.com.